Good evening, everybody. That was interesting. So I pre-planned for tonight's show. Welcome to Flash Talks, everyone. This is AEW versus NXT. If you're interested, if you're a wrestling fan. So I shared the link to tonight. I pre-planned it. I scheduled the show, the time, the everything. And then when I got ready to go and start, I couldn't work out how to get the video going. So that was an interesting start. Still new world for Flash Talks, and let's see how we get going. I will blabber on now. If anybody does join live, please let me know in the comments. I can see the live comment chat in the box next to me. If you've got any questions related to the topic tonight, or if you want to just let me know you're watching, or whatever, we can go off topic. I really don't mind. What's interesting is earlier on tonight we did a parents' evening for my boys' school, and you can edit out the background. Ideally, I would like the picture of my daughter and my son edited out, and we had some sort of wrestling background to it. But I haven't got to the editing stage yet. We are in the very basic early days. But welcome along. It's Wednesday. We're getting through the week. So tonight I'm doing a recap of AEW versus NXT from last Tuesday. Here in the UK, you can watch them both live, but I'm now at an age where if I stay up late to watch live, I ain't going to be much good to anyone for the next few days. It's not so good for me, the late nights anymore. So, let me talk to you. Yeah. The battle, as they called it, I really don't think it is that. I don't know how it came about. I think it was purely AEW was moved that week from Wednesday to Tuesday night. And everyone knows NXT is on Tuesday nights. And myself, I've grown apart from NXT because I feel like Vince absolutely destroyed it after they lost the war to AEW just after COVID. I can't remember when they stopped the black and gold brand. It was 2020, 2021, something like that. And yeah, there's some great matches, great talent there, but it never was must see for me. It became must see back then when it was the original Wednesday Night War, as they called it, war. That was great times. I've made notes here, so I'm prepping a little bit for this show tonight. First one I've properly prepped for. I did a bit of preparation for the Harry Potter video. Thanks everyone for watching that. So AEW called their show Title Tuesday, and NXT didn't call it nothing. They just said welcome to the party, pretty much. And all of a sudden, within a week leading up to it, all the big guns from WWE were suddenly being advertised to join the show. And it was an exciting watch. I've watched both now, so I feel like I can get my own personal view across on what happened. I will go through AEW first and then NXT. AEW, background notes here. The overall viewership for the night in the States, I must add, they don't count us over here. They never will. You never really hear about how many fans are watching over here, even though so many people know pro wrestling in the UK has probably a bigger audience than the States. That's where I'm probably going to get that wrong. But Flash Talks thinks that anyway. So they got 609,000 viewers, and NXT had 921,000. A little bit of a flip on what used to happen, because it was normally AEW were kicking NXT's arse, and now that just completely flipped over. I think purely it would be because the big guns were coming. Cena, Heyman, and Cody Rhodes. That's why, in my opinion, it flipped. What was interesting was when we were originally in the war 4 years ago, it was all based on concept a lot of the time. You sort of looked at NXT and went, good product here, but look at this tiny venue in the Performance Center. It just, whatever. AEW sell out arenas. It was big, it was grand, the pyro and everything. And that's kind of like, wow, that visually you went, oh, this is good, but this, man, boom, incredible. And some massive names. And yeah, it was, and it just, in my opinion, this week or last week, completely flipped. It was more of a visual enjoyment for myself, NXT in their small Performance Center, to AEW's arena crowd. But I'll go through show by show. And AEW's Title Tuesday, it kicked off with Mr. Christian Cage in the truck. And I'm loving this version of Christian Cage. Father of the Year. What a guy. He ain't taking no shit. And the promo he did with Adam Copeland, Edge, the week before was he didn't have to say much. I mean, Edge done all the talking, and it was emotional, pouring his heart out to him. And then we just got simple hug, go fuck yourself. I think it's great, absolutely brilliant. So he was previewing the night ahead, and the whole show was focused around leading up to Adam Copeland's AEW in-ring debut, which was the main event. So the first match that kicked it off was Bryan Danielson. Yeah, not allowed to do that. Just try not to encourage that in an AEW environment, is what I read once upon a time. Versus Swerve, whose house, in a number one contenders match for Christian Cage's TNT title, even though it's Luchasaurus's title. I'm still sticking with that one. This was a great technical wrestling match. And can I just quickly talk about Swerve Strickland? You heard it here first on Flash Talks. He will be AEW World Champion within the next 2 years. He has got it. He's got the look. When I saw this guy at Wembley Stadium, I didn't go in as a massive fan, but I kind of liked the way it was going. And as soon as I left Wembley Stadium, he got me. I was in. I'm sold. And yeah, these two had an incredible match to kick off the show. And yeah, there's no faults with that. I'm not doing star ratings on these things yet. I might do star ratings or out of 10s for pay-per-view shows. I'm going to do reviews on pay-per-views on here. But round of applause, great match. If you're a pure wrestling fan, you probably would have stayed put watching AEW if you weren't already tuned to NXT. Then we had a Samoa Joe video package. And I'm loving Joe in AEW. See how much fun he had in that match with Punk at Wembley. Yeah, I was laughing. I was laughing in the stadium, watching him just enjoy himself. And it's great. His match with MJF a few weeks back on Dynamite was enjoyable to watch. Not amazing, but it was enjoyable. And this new version of Joe smoking the cigars, he's the Don, and yeah, it's I love Samoa Joe. I've always have and always will. Thank you, Joe. Then this one was pretty shocking for me. Keeping with the theme of trying to get people who were once WWE fans or long lost wrestling fans, which a lot of these products do try and grip you back in if you were a fan from years ago. Chris Jericho's on next, and his theme song Judas, which if you were a fan of wrestling back in the day, you won't know it. It's his band's one of his band's songs. He sang it out himself at Wembley Stadium. One of the best live experiences I've ever had in my life. And I've done Wembley Stadium for the likes of Oasis, for the likes of Foo Fighters, and last year Ed Sheeran. Incredible musical experiences, but I would say those 3 minutes of Fozzy, or whatever it was just as damn fun. So Jericho comes out, has a match with Powerhouse Hobbs, and Hobbs, man, he's the package of big muscle meaty man, and he has Mr. Don Callis at his side. That is super fucking heat. That man, every time the camera is on him, the boos are phenomenal. And whatever he's doing, it's working. I'm enjoying the whole Don Callis family setup. But most shocking for me about this match was you couldn't call it a squash match because it went on a while. But in my notes here, I have labelled it as a squash match. He squashed Jericho. And it surprised me. But I think it's good booking to do that, to people that had watched from years ago to come back in and go, hang on, that's Jericho. Jericho don't lose. There you go. I enjoyed that. Another thing I enjoyed straight after that, there's Roderick Strong, who was part of NXT with Adam Cole, baby. He's almost holding him hostage at the moment because he doesn't want him to go and play with his friend, the world champ, MJF. And this is some funny shit going on. Funny shit going on, damn it. I like this kind of shit. It's entertaining stuff going on there. Kind of see where it's going to go, but I love it. I love a bit of light-hearted humour. Next, we had the international... I think it's the International Championship. I've labelled it IC, so I almost said Intercontinental. Orange Cassidy went over on Ray Phoenix. Really fast-paced AEW match, I would say. It was no messing about. They just got on with it, and Cassidy went over. Now, this show's called Title Tuesday, which... I could have gone into it thinking, oh, all the belts going to be on the line, but they also have Clash of the Belts, Battle of the Belts, something like that. AEW do a lot of themes, and it I can't relate to them all the time. But here's where they got it probably right for the night. Cassidy goes over, title on the line, title changes hands, job done. Next one was second week in a row, a squash match for Wardlow. Let me come back to Wardlow in just a few moments. against Matt Seidel, formerly of Evan Bourne, if everyone remembers him from WWE days. WECW was a lot of the time. I remember seeing him. And that's how I got, interesting little fact, side note here, that's how I got the name for my son. Me and the wife were going through wrestling names. She hates wrestling with a passion, by the way. And we got to Evan, and she kind of went, yeah, I like that. So Evan it was, Evan Bourne. Thank you for that. So anyway, Matt Seidel got absolutely squashed here by the second week in a row that the match has been called off, and Wardlow goes over. For me, Wardlow is wasted in AEW. They just don't seem to know what to do. They're kind of going down the Goldberg route of he will just dominate. And hopefully it builds up because the crowd behind him, you get Wardlow, just like Goldberg. But this man screams WWE to me. Just the same way Jade Cargill has just come over from AEW to WWE. We'll touch on that in a little bit. Wardlow is the full package for me. He's a menace. This guy is a tank. He's a machine, and he looks damn good in a suit as well. So if you're doing your press and all that sort of stuff, that's the man you can have as your face of your brand. So yeah, and then we got to an incredible match between Hangman Adam Page and Jay White, who at this stage has the AEW belt, stole it from MJF the week before. This is going to go blah, 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 all the way up to the next pay-per-view next month. He'll keep that belt till then. It's not his belt. A great match between these two. Hangman Adam Page, for me, when I was new to AEW, as we all were when it started, he's the one guy I looked at and went, oh, this guy, this could be the one. And I stand by it. Of the guys that weren't ex-WWE guys, he's one I definitely was like, yes, give me some of this. And he never fails to impress. Jay went over. MJF comes out after. I think we're heading into a bit of a bullying storyline with MJF, which is helping his babyface character grow even more. This was the biggest arsehole in the company, now becoming the most loved arsehole. MJF. It's going to be a pretty simple storyline, but it will do the job in MJF going over at the next pay-per-view. Heard it here first on Flash Talks. He will beat Jay White at Full Gear. I've got to stop doing that. This is the reviews I'm getting on my videos when I'm talking from my wife, I might add, is I'm doing that too much. So here's a drink. Clear the throat. I'm going to need to clear the throat for this next one. Here we go. Saraya got screwed, damn it. By Vince. Yeah. It's done it again. I was pretty pissed off seeing that magical moment I saw at Wembley Stadium, Saraya getting the belt. I always knew when I was watching it live, it's not going to last, but this is lovely. This is the magical moment. Just what we wanted. Maybe it's what us Brits wanted. The Americans clearly didn't, because hearing in that arena, watching it back on ITV. ITV sometimes you think could edit some of this stuff out, but I don't think they do. You can hear the obvious boos to Saraya, and she drops the belt to. Got brain freeze here. She's now the 3-time champ. She's if there was someone in the chat who'd be able to help me, but I should have made a note on that one. So we've got a new AEW World Women's Champion. It may come back to me randomly. And I was so disappointed. I really was. And I almost feel like that's it. They just won't do anything with Saraya now. Shame. It is a real shame. But shit happens. All I can say is disappointed. Next up, we had Renee talking with MJF backstage, and MJF didn't want to talk because he wanted to get hold of Adam Cole, baby, and he couldn't. We got hold of him, but there was no signal, cut off. I mean, he stuck with Mr. Roddy. So, yeah. And then we finally got to our main event. I must say, sometimes I watch Dynamite and it feels like it drags, but this kind of went pretty quick. And it was on this day. I'm so pleased he brought the theme over to AEW. Great. Adam Copeland against Luchasaurus. And the only thing I didn't like about this match was the tombstone. Oh, yeah. I didn't want his run in AEW to be finished before it even started. But that looked pretty damn scary. Come out of it all right, it looks like. Yes, he goes over. I think we're going to get a Christian Edge match at some point. And I think long term, they will reunite as a tag team. We'll see how this thing goes. The beauty of it is, I don't know how long this contract is for Adam, but there's so many options there for him and so many great matches. But what my main thing with AEW is, what stopped me watching for a while was storytelling, and the long-term vision was so crap. It was just match after match for pointless reasons. You never got the excitement of what's coming. So they left it on the cliff here with Brian. Actually, after the match, had Christian in the crossface and leaving you wanting to watch Collision on Saturday, which is how it should be done. I can remember growing up in the 90s and you watched Raw or SmackDown right before a pay-per-view, and this is how they left it. They would leave you going, I've got to see that. I've really got to see that. Now they need to start learning to do this with their pay-per-views. They've done that well with the crossover because they know Collision is really failing in the ratings. So that gets you interested. So my overall thinking with AEW is they did well for Title Tuesday, but it didn't blow me away. I did say on one of my previews last week, they will do something that just makes you go, wow. And I think the Bryan match and the Hangman match, those two were bravo, great matches. Yeah, that's the standout highlights for me on a night of Dynamite. Over on the other side, NXT opens up with Mr. Cody Rhodes. Now that is how it's done. The man who was a big attraction for people starting to watch AEW, one of those in there creating this monster, is now back on the other side, back where his dad was. And that's how you just start it. And this crowd, this is going back to what I was saying, visually, it's a small little venue in the Performance Centre. And my God, they were just crazy. They were so up for it. I loved it. I wish I was there. And King Cody, that's all I can say is, man, he had them in the palm of his hands. And then the new NXT champ, Ilya Dragunov, comes out. And Cody then drops a bomb that he is the NXT general manager for the night. And I think he was again this week. And he makes NXT Championship match for the night against Dirty Dom, because Dirty Dom comes out with Mommy. Oh, I love Mommy. Excuse me. Dirty Dom versus Ilya Dragunov with Mr. L.A. Knight. Yeah. What? In being the special guest referee. And that for me is how you start your show, because they left you wanting, I'm not going to go and check out the competition because they've just set up a championship match for the night. And the other side are doing Title Tuesday. Well, NXT's giving me their main title on the line. Bravo. I enjoyed that. Then we cut to Mr. Cena arrives. Commentary were making comments about the car he arrived in. I don't actually know what the car was because I'm not a big car person, but it wasn't as special as you thought Cena would arrive in. Then we cut to Miss Roxanne Perez versus Asuka, and Shotzi was on commentary as well. It's good to have Asuka back in NXT. Her days in NXT were absolutely brilliant. I think she was just something else. A good match, good solid match. While I'm on the topic actually of the women's wrestling, women's divisions, there's a common theme with AEW. When you watch their product, they always put the women on just before the main event of Dynamite. Always guaranteed to give them like 5-10 minutes or whatever they get. I think it's poor. But it's not just AEW. I don't know about NXT so much because I haven't watched it for so long. But WWE are guilty of it with Raw and SmackDown. It's what they're doing. They sold us on the investment of women's wrestling and now how they can main event these pay-per-views and big events and fantastic. What Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton did at No Mercy a couple of weeks back, that's how it should be going. That's the direction it needs to go in. And having Jade Cargill in NXT and Charlotte Flair back on the scene will help elevate the women back up the ranks. But AEW need to learn from this as well, because why not? There's some decent women's wrestlers around now. So hats off to them. And Asuka went over, and fairly decent match. Mr. Heyman then arrives on the scene and made me laugh because he just sort of was walking outside and then, was someone going to show me the right door? You've clearly been there before, mate. You know what you're doing. But it was entertaining. Then we got the pub fight. Loved this. This was great fun. And it was basically England versus Scotland, with Brawling Brutes going against Gallus, the Scots. And the English won it, damn it! Yeah, baby! That's how it's done. Good fun, good brawl, and it just showed, like, the best of British. We can just go for it. And that's the scenario these 6 guys were given. Just go out there, cause a bit of mayhem, have fun. And they did it. Loved it. Great match. And we got a reminder that the show was trending #1 at the time. So people were more hooked and engaged on NXT. I think you can tell by the way I'm talking about NXT. It was good fun to watch. And then we got a look at Becky Lynch in 2 weeks' time at NXT Halloween Havoc with Taya Valkyrie. Needs to have their history back in Ireland. Really good video package, actually, I thought. I really enjoyed it. So one to look forward to of NXT Halloween Havoc. I love that they bring these old pay-per-view concepts back. You've got Halloween Havoc from WCW, No Mercy, a classic one from back in the day. They originally brought back the War Games. All these little things that NXT does. It's bravo. Keep them coming. Thank you. Then Mr. Cena comes out, and I think he was a bit taken aback that the whole audience were singing his theme. They started off with John Cena sucks, and then everyone just sang the theme, and it was great fun. You could see him having so much fun. Bron Breakker comes out, tries to get involved, and then the fans turn it to Bron Breakker sucks. Bron Breakker sucks. And Cena's like, I think I've heard this one before. That was a great fun segment between those two. Again, trying to hook you in, keep you there, ready for the main event. It obviously worked because they had the 921,000 viewers compared to AEW 609,000. Then we got the NXT title match with special guest referee LA Knight. Yeah, what? And against Ilya was defending the title against Dirty Dom and his mommy. This match was just entertaining. It wasn't anything that special, but it was entertaining. It was good to have. They hooked you in because you knew the title was on the line, and it's quite clever doing that. And well done to them. It was really well done. And LA Knight was playing with the crowd throughout as referee, and I love how he kept his glasses on and kept his whole look going. And as the crowd just kept going, LA Knight, yeah, he's doing that, and yeah, hooked, loved it. Well done. Back to Cena again, backstage with Trick and Mello. This is, again, where I said about Swerve being the future AEW World Champion. Carmelo Hayes is the future of the WWE. Don't think you've heard it from Flash Talks first. I'm sure this is the direction most of us think they're going to go in, because we'll come to that in a second. Jade Cargill is then greeted by HBK. That again is, I like the way they're just building it, and we're getting there. I think she'll have some involvement in the NXT Women's title picture, and that's where we'll go with this for now. Gets viewers on NXT. Then we had the NXT Breakout tournament with Danny Palmer and Lola Vice. Lola went over. This again was back to what I was saying. They gave the women time. Fantastic. There's 2 women's matches on this 2-hour show. I think it went for about 5 minutes. But they got their shit in. They done it. And this is a whole tournament thing. I love tournaments in wrestling, and Lola moves into, I think it's the quarterfinals of this tournament. Got a Chase University package backstage. They're great fun. So I'd definitely like to engage in what they're doing. Then we got Brian Pillman Jr. Be interesting to see where this thing goes, but looking good so far. And then we got to our main event. Finally got there. And it built to it all night. Braun with Heyman on his side and Carmelo Hayes with Cena on his side. And it was just great. The whole night was just great fun. And they just knew how to just get it done. And they tied in with the whole bloodline thing because Solo came out and him and Cena end up going scrapping to the back. Heyman disappears and it ends up with the two guys who are the faces of NXT, Melo and Braun. And they went all out. And yeah, it was a great finish with Melo going over straight away. We got the spear. I think it was a spear anyway. From Braun. And just when you think, well, that's going to be it. That's how they're teasing it. It's over and done with, blah, blah, blah. Grabs the mic and he says, along the lines of, he's the biggest badass the ring's ever seen, blah, 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 something like that. With that, you know what's coming because the gong was teased. And out comes the badass. Taker returns on the bike. Full American Badass theme. Love again. Just a really enjoyable night. Comes out. Even says to him on the mic that you're going to have your day, Braun. Today is not it. You are a future. It's not now. Boom! Chokeslam. Job done. And then we end the show with Taker raising Melo's arm. So coming back to what I was saying, Melo gets the rub from Cena and Taker. That's all you need to know. This guy's the future of the WWE. And I hope they push him to the moon because he is really talented. And let's get it done. This is the longest Flash Talks I've done. And I really love your feedback. NXT won for me. And I'll tell you for why. It was a gripping show throughout. And it again flew by. AEW flew by. But what AEW needs to now think of their game plan going forward, they can't bring any more WWE stars over. That plan worked at the time. It was a short-term plan, but that's now gone. They could, of course, sign other WWE guys, but it's not going to bring people in. It won't bring the eyes to the product. Build your storylines. Make it thrilling to watch. You're already doing it with some of your matches. Keep it going in the right direction. I saw the best side of it at Wembley. Keep that momentum going before it doesn't work. Nobody wants a WCW scenario again. AEW is best for business all round. Keep going. Don't turn into a nutcase. All of you there. Thank you very much for watching Flash Talks tonight. And this has been going nearly 40 minutes now. So I'm going to finish for the night before I start going again. And thank you very much. There'll be some coming up next week in the evenings when I get a chance. With it being half term, there will be limited videos, I think. But when I can do some videos, I'll do them. And we'll think of some topics. And a few other good ones coming up this week. So have a good evening, all. And thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe to Flash Talks. My son hates me saying this, so I'm going to keep doing it. Good night.